This video is brought to you by Vendor Finance. If you're looking for car finance and want the best available motor finance rates, check out vendorfinance.ie and apply online today. Vendor Finance is 100% Irish owned. See the comment section for more details.
Hello and welcome back to the Cars Ireland YouTube channel. This week we're going to have a look around another new and very exciting contender on the electric scene, and in fact a first on the Irish and European market. It's our very first all-electric estate. It's the MG5. With a starting price of under €28,000 and an impressive WLTP range of 345 kilometres, the MG5 offers an even cheaper and more spacious option than its already impressive ZS sibling. Now, it might not be as trendy as an SUV, but like most estates, it actually makes a bit more sense. And we know there are still some people out there who don't want an SUV. We see you, we hear you, we feel you. Now let's take a look around this wagon, because I am very excited to show you just how impressive this car is. So we'll start with the boot, because that's what we do, and obviously being an estate is quite an important feature. And inside here you will find an impressive 474 litres, or 578 if you measure up to the roof, which is by no means the largest estate boot on the market, but given the electric range of that big old battery pack it also has to lug around underneath, that is still quite the achievement. You've got your charging cables here in this very trendy MG bag as a reminder of that. Now granted, it is a fairly no-frills affair back here with not a shopping bag hook to be found, although you do get this pretty snazzy retractable parcel shelf, which is of much better quality than what you'll find in the ZS. It's also fully removable too, which is handy when you're loading it up to the brim and showing off your estate driver credentials. Now you also do have quite a bit of a load lip to contend with here to lift stuff over, but being an estate it's a bit lower to begin with, so hopefully that shouldn't be too much of an issue. And the back seats do fold down, and technically you can do it from back here if your arms are long enough, but they don't fold remotely flat, so you're going to have another big lip back there to contend with. But it does still make it capable of carrying much more stuff no matter what way you squeeze that in. Here in the back, first thing I noticed when I got in was the completely flat floor, which is great news if you've got 3 children, because it means that your middle seat passenger doesn't really lose out on legroom at all, which is unusual, and will hopefully save a few scraps and arguments back here. Width-wise, it's also pretty good. Now, of course, it'll depend on how many car seats you have to squeeze in here and how big they are. Now, I did try out one combination of a large rear-facing seat on this side, a booster on this side, and then an older child with no seat requirements in the middle, and we were pretty comfy. Now, unfortunately, there are no guides for the ISOFIX points, which makes them a little bit trickier to fit. It's quite a nice place to be in general. The big windows let in plenty of light, so it feels quite nice and airy. Head and legroom are very generous. One complaint I do have as an adult is because of that battery placement, these back seats feel quite short, so my legs are at a bit of an angle. Now, it's fine if you're a little kid swinging your legs from a booster seat, but as I said, for an adult or even a taller teenager, I don't know how comfortable this position is going to be on a longer journey on the old sit bones. I am, however, delighted to see 2 USB ports in the back here for keeping gadgets topped up and backseat passengers entertained, and I'm even happier to see that they are the old school ones, so even dinosaurs like me won't need an adapter. Believe it or not, they're actually an optional extra on the Skoda Enyaq with its much higher starting price and long waiting lists. Just saying. Might be basic, but it's by no means sparse. And other creature comforts back here include magazine holders, or surely tablet holders by now, and a pull down centre armrest complete with cup holders. And now finally to the front of the bus. Now, we should stop and say a quick word on spec first, because certain things do differ between trim levels, and that entry price refers to the Excite model, which comes with a really generous list of kit as standard, including this 8-inch coloured touchscreen display complete with sat-nav, a reversing camera, cruise control, and a leather covered steering wheel. You will have to upgrade to the Excite model if you want things like this leather style upholstery, which for a starting price of just under €31,000 also adds some nice features like keyless entry, heated seats, silver roof rails, rain sensing window wipers, and electric lumbar support, which is a really nice touch. And first impressions up here are generally quite good too. I do get a strong sense of being in a high-spec version of one of the main European brands maybe one generation ago. Like there's lots of piano black trim, but it does feel really good quality and it is very nicely laid out. It all makes sense and it's not remotely shouty about being electric at all, which I do like. The only clue really being this high shine rotary dial down here, which you will use to select start, stop and reverse. So it's one of the beauties of going electric, I think, is just how little there is to worry about. But the infotainment system, if you watched my ZS review, you'll know that I wasn't initially very impressed with it, but I cannot tell you what a different experience it's been this time since I learned how to turn off the bongs. The bongs. It's set up to beep every time you touch it and it's this very irritating, quite 90s sounding beep as well. So since I've learned how to turn that off, my tolerance for this has shot right back up. And you know what? It's not actually a bad little system at all. Has all the bits you need. You've got your DAB radio, sat-nav, Bluetooth, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. If you really don't like the system, you can use those instead. And a reversing camera. And like I said, all of that stuff is standard on the entry-level model. So in that respect, I'm not really sure whether it's worth upgrading at all, because to be honest, the leather style upholstery is of questionable quality, doesn't feel too great. So if you feel like you could live without the other bits and bobs as well, it's definitely something worth thinking about. Right, I think it's time to take it for a drive. As mentioned earlier, the WLTP range of the MG5 is 345 kilometers, and to put that in context, it's about the same as what you'll get in the new Opel Corsa E or Peugeot E208, and they're in a similar price bracket too, although this is obviously a lot bigger and more practical for the price. The MPG days of old, that WLTP figure can be a bit of a fairy tale sometimes, and of course depends majorly on real life conditions like outside temperature and general driving conditions. It seems to be pretty accurate so far in that I got an estimated reading of 324 kilometers from a full charge, and the kilometers I've travelled have been coming off pretty accurately so far with no major discrepancies. You can charge it up fully in about 8 hours or overnight from a standard home wall box, and it's also got the ability to charge up to 80% in just 50 minutes at a 50 kilowatt charge point, which will be handy for any longer journeys or staycations this year. To drive, it's pretty unremarkable in the best possible way. Now, you'd be forgiven for thinking that the extra length and the excess battery weight might make for a clunky or awkward drive, and it's neither of those things. In fact, it handles pretty well. Now, naturally enough, the suspension is on the firmer end of the spectrum, but nothing to complain about, and the steering is a little bit on the light side for me, although you do feel that weight up at motorway speeds, which surprisingly enough don't seem to drain the battery like they can in some other EVs. I'm also delighted to see that the instrument cluster is now in kilometres as well as miles per hour, which is very handy in Ireland because it now matches our road signs and the like. And the safety gear is pretty good too, although there is one feature that has been driving me a bit nuts. It's some kind of a speed warning feature. The problem being it comes on when you're nowhere near the speed limit, so I might be just approaching 100 kilometers an hour on the motorway and suddenly it starts beeping and giving out to me, and I'm not really sure why. It's a bit like having my mom in the car. Sorry, mom. But other than that, a very satisfactory on-the-road experience. I'm going to have to use some serious cliches here, and I kind of hate myself for it, but this is a lot of car for the money, like a lot. Not only is it fully electric and all of the benefits that that entails, it's also got loads of space and loads of kit, and it's only €28,000. In fact, I'd go as far as to say that this has been the surprise wildcard of the year for me so far, and I kind of wish I'd had the chance to drive it before I drove the Enyaq and the ID4, because as impressive as both of those cars were, this has just made them both look outrageously expensive. Now granted, the MG brand is really only emerging on the Irish market at the moment, but if they continue to make great value cars like this one, then I can totally see them being the next big Skoda or Kia success story of the 20s, and more power to them. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did find it helpful, please do give us a like, subscribe if you'd like to see more like it, but most importantly, if you didn't know what the MG5 was before today, and you do now and you're impressed, then tell a friend. Tell that uncle who's thinking about going electric but doesn't think he can afford to, because this car deserves a place on the shopping list no matter what end of the market that you're looking at. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.